Greetings, peace, everybody. Welcome to Community Radio. I'm your host, Kim, and we are back today. Today's Monday. As you know, the shows are daily now at the same time from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern. Those times may change in the future, but for now, that is where it's set. We'll let you know when and if the times change in our advertisements. But welcome. And I decided to cut the commercial short this time. Maybe I'll play it a little later when more callers on the line so that they can get that information. But before we get started, as usual, I'll go over a few new announcements. We are in the second strong of the new Phase 1 Challenge, and that is for those students who are enrolled, who are trying to move along in the training. You know, some have been in the class for some years now and have yet to complete it. But just so you know, if you would like to participate in any of the new work that we're doing, you have to have at least completed Phase 1 of the training. So that is why we've kind of started this challenge to help you all move through it a little faster. You can get information on that and videos and tips and share your experiences if you go to seduluhouse.com and just type in Phase 1 Challenge, and that information will be listed on the page. You can also get to it through the app, Anu Nation. So if you have an Android phone, make sure you download the app. You can do a lot from that app. You can do your classes, you can go through your classes, chat with other subscribers to the app, and it's very helpful, so make sure you get that downloaded as well. I also wanted to encourage all of you who are listening who are not in the class to join the class. You can also check out all of the other classes that we offer on different spiritual concepts that I have instructed on, things such as meditation, spiritual cleansing, animal totems, so many. I think there are probably about 12 of them there now. Make sure you go to seduluhouse.com to check those out. I encourage you to take the Phase 1 training because, as you know, when building a community or building a nation, one of the first things that is built is a school. And so that school kind of acclimates you to the culture of Anu. I've recently had a chance to speak with a few people who call in asking about classes and everything, and they have yet to go to the website to check out the information on the class. So there's a full syllabus on that website that tells you what's included in the class, how to enroll in the class, and any other information that you may need to know about it. There's also a video that Chief did just on Phase 1, and there's a show in the archives. So you can check out all the archive shows on our Enlightenment and Transformation channel on YouTube and here on Blog Talk. And just so you know, those shows are supplements to the class as well. So you're not going to find all of your answers just in the class material itself. You have to kind of immerse yourself in all of the information that's put out, including the books. All right, so make sure you, before you email us or whatever, make sure you explore the website fully. I know a lot of us kind of just, are just kind of quick to just jump in and ask a question, but we go through a lot of the questions that we have had over the years, and a lot of those questions can be answered in the FAQ section on the website as well. So make sure you go through those. I've had someone even actually post a question about what's contained in the class on the actual page. So they actually had to scroll through all the information to submit a question at the bottom of the page asking what's involved in the class. So make sure you just kind of, read, take a minute to read what's going on. And again, download the app. All right. So the school is very important. If you want to learn more about what we do, what the culture of Anu is all about, take the class and listen to the shows. We've also had questions. People come in and ask, well, I'm used to the Kemetic tradition. Do you all teach that? Or I'm used to the Moor tradition. Do you all teach anything about that? And so when you listen to the shows and you follow the course syllabus or read the course syllabus and go through the class, you'll actually find that we study various indigenous systems. And Anu is its own culture and system to itself. So make sure you kind of familiarize yourself with all of that great information. All right. So today, I was just kind of thinking about, just to start the conversation off and to let you all know, the number is 515-605-9862. Just press the number 1 to join in the conversation. If you have a question, comment, or if you'd like to share any testimonies or experiences that you have had, we'd be happy to hear those. But today, just to get the ball rolling, I was thinking about demons, death, and transformation. And what's kind of sparked this, on Chief Speaks recently, he's spoken about the winter season being a time of meditation and stillness. And it's also a time where many things die. And so recently, I know just in the women's group, a lot of people have been going through a lot of emotional kind of ups and downs and having a lot of dreams and things like this. And all these things are related, actually, to death and transformation. And so recently, I'd probably say in the last 3 weeks or so, for me personally, I've been thinking a lot about Olokun, as some of these things have popped up in my dreams as well. And so one of the things that came to me yesterday when just thinking about death, I thought about the Yoruba word for death, which is Iku. And as you know, when doing divination with the Obi or with the kola nut, one of the things that you say in the Adura prior to starting, prior to asking your question, you would say, Obi ni bi Iku, which means Obi averts death. And when I first started learning about divination and studying, I know it may seem crazy now, but I used to always think, I was like, how is it that the Obi or a kola nut averts death? What is that about? I really just didn't get it. But I came to understand that what it means is that this medium that you have chosen to use to tap into your higher self and to tap into different Orisha, your ancestors, and everything to get advice, the message that comes through is sacred. And when that message comes through, sometimes it can and it does avert death and sickness and all of these other things that we say when we're doing the Aduras. So, and also the kola nut itself, if you've done any research on it, I remember Chief doing a show on this once where he spoke about the kola nut and how the kola nut is, when you go to visit someone, it's often given as a gift or an offering to the people that you visit when you go to Nigeria. But the kola nut contains caffeine. And as we know, like, these are things that sparks energy or vitality. So there's life in this kola nut. And so to me, kind of connecting those ideas of vitality and life and abundance, because kola nuts are pretty abundant in Nigeria and West Africa. It all kind of connects to the prayer when we say Obinibi Iku, to avert death, because it does bring life and vitality, as well as being a messenger for the messages that come through that prevent us from making choices that could lead to death or sickness and things of that nature. So I don't know. I was just thinking about that. I don't know if you've ever questioned that. That's one of the things we have to do in the training is when you're doing the prayers to kind of break down each word and explore what those words mean in Yoruba. So it kind of helps to expand your Yoruba vocabulary as well. But in a recent show, Chief was again speaking on winter and this being a time of meditation. And it just kind of speaks to the stillness of the season as well as death. And this could be physical death, or it could be a metaphorical death where things, you kind of go into this hermit mode that he spoke of, where you are still and you're thinking about a lot of things, and you go through these different transformations. And as you know, if you listen to the old shows, the shows used to start off with an explanation of what enlightenment and transformation means. And so Chief has always said that, the things that lie in the dark are the things that transform us. So they're not always looked at as something nice or pleasant or all serene and happy and peaceful, because those are the things that kind of lie in our subconscious. And if allowed to stay there for so long and you never kind of tap into what those messages are or what those demons are, they tend to grow and become distorted, and the voices and things get louder and louder and louder. And so we kind of sometimes turn a blind eye to them, because those are the things that we really don't want to go through. We really don't want to face transformation all the time, because sometimes it can be painful. And so while we're in that still subconscious space, sometimes those messages come through in dreams, which kind of speaks to why, dreams have been really prevalent during this time. And it also connects us to our ancestors. So this is a good time to get into your meditation, to pay attention to your dreams, to prepare yourself to dream and to go into that kind of still sleep state, to get those messages from your ancestors. And so also, if you haven't constructed an ancestral shrine, you might want to do that first before you start to try to tap into Orisha. If you don't know how to do it, there are shows in the archives that explain it in detail. You can also find instructions on how to do that and how to establish a gateway for communication through the book Grasping the Root of Divine Power, which is also supplement to the class. And you can also pick up Shrine and Altar, which speak to building your shrines and altars as well, and how to properly do that so that you are effective and that you're effective in doing so. So anyway, I was thinking about the energy of Olokun, which is also linked to all of these things that we're talking about: death, water, the subconscious, dreams, sleep state, the ancestors. And Olokun, if you break the word down, of course, Chief has taught us that anytime you see O in front of a name, it tells us that it means the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of whatever follows. So we have O, or Olo, which is the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And then we have Okun, which means ocean. And so actually, Olokun is the energy of all bodies of water, not just the ocean. But we'll speak about just the ocean here. And so when we think about the ocean, or we think about the depths of the ocean, and the very, the third layer of the ocean, which is where no light penetrates. There's no light there whatsoever. And the animals, or the life that is there at the bottom of the ocean, is very distorted and this is where we get these stories of sea creatures, and she spoke about it in the show, the Leviathan, and all of these other sea monsters. This is where that comes from, because again, those are those demons and things that we have kind of pressed down in our subconscious that we don't necessarily deal with, and they have just kind of taken on this kind of horrific form that we're afraid to look at. And so also that part of the ocean, or the ocean period, just kind of represents our past, present, and future, because the top layer of ocean, of course, is life-giving, and we kind of liken that to Yemoja, which is a mothering energy, a nurturing energy. But then we have, again, that bottom layer, which is so dark and cold, and the water pressure at that point is it just kind of crushes everything. We have yet, I think, to be able to kind of travel to that depth of those depths of the ocean. I don't think anyone has been able to do it just yet, just because the water pressure is so immense. But this is also where our ancestors, during the slave trade, where a lot of the bodies are. And just a side note, water also represents our emotions. And so even going back to the Obi, we know that in the east, or on the left side of your Oponifa, we have that area of Osi, which corresponds to transformation and death. And we find all of our watery energies there. So you have Olokun, you have Yemoja, you have these feminine dark energies on that side of the tray. So when you when you cast your Obi and you get a shell up or shell down in that area, it corresponds or speaks to transformation or death. And so, I don't know, like I said, I was just kind of vibing on this whole thing. I had a lot of dreams recently that kind of speak to death and transformation. And so I don't know if you all have had this experience lately, just in the latter part of December and continuing on into this year. But I know in the women's group that we have on Mondays, it's something that we've been talking about a lot lately. And so this is a really good time to do some ancestral work and to get into your meditation. If you don't know how to meditate, of course, we have a class on that on seduluhouse.com, where we teach you different meditation techniques and tell you how they're beneficial, teach you about different breathing techniques to get you into a place of meditation. I know that's hard for a lot of us because, again, it takes you to this place of stillness where you're not doing anything, or the hermit mode that Chief was speaking about. And for a lot of us, it's really hard to do, so we give up on meditation very quickly. We're just sitting there, we're like, okay, is something supposed to happen? Am I supposed to be seeing something? I'm not seeing anything. And then your mind starts to just become flooded with all types of thoughts and, oh, did I pay this bill? Let's see, what do I have to do today? We start thinking about everything because it's so hard to be still. And that layer of the ocean, that bottom layer, is very still. So that's another reason why why meditation is kind of hard, because it's just very hard for us to be still. But meditation is a great and important practice when it comes to your ritual work. You will need that skill to be able to learn how to focus your thoughts and to calm your mind a bit so that you can focus in on what you're doing. So make sure you check that one out too. That's on seduluhouse.com, or you can find it on my webpage, SiriusBitch.com, SiriusBitch.com. All right. So again, I'm just still kind of vibing on Olokun, and this can be a destructive force. Again, we're speaking about water, which can be life giving, or it can be destructive in that it erodes things. And it's also a host or an incubator of spirits, which is why, when we talk about our ancestors, we know that our ancestors, a lot of them were lost in the slave trade in the ocean. And I think that, for me personally, again, even when I go to the beach, it's like I'm kind of leery to get in the water because it's just something about the water, depending on where I am, something about the water that just kind of, I don't know, it just kind of gets me in the gut a little bit. So, I'm thinking about all that as I, approach the water to stick my foot in the water or whatever. So that's something that I've always thought about, just how many spirits and things lie in that water. But even though those things can be scary for us, and it's something that we may be afraid to do, to kind of venture into the subconscious world or into water, it's also a place of wealth. When you read these stories, and even now, people still go treasure hunting and things like that. They go, diving for treasure and things like that. And that is because our ancestor spirits are in that water. And as we know, our ancestors can create blockages or help us through some of our life situations. And I remember Chief did another show on this, speaking about the ancestors and Orisha, and saying that, a lot of times we go to Orisha, we may think we're supposed to go to Orisha when we have personal problems or if we're dealing with family situations to kind of help us get through them. But Orisha are just, pure energy. They're not human, and they never have been human. And I know, like, if you go on the internet, you'll probably read a lot of stories and things where people say that they were human, but they weren't. It's just an energy and a force. And so when you're dealing with personal issues or you're trying to figure some things out about something that you may have gone through personally, you would go to your ancestors for that because they were here. They have probably dealt with some of those situations that you've been through. And so we will go to our ancestors first, before we try to work with any Orisha. So our ancestors can hold the key to our wealth or to our to those riches down at the bottom of the ocean or that are held deeply in our subconscious. So sometimes, they communicate with us in the dream state, because in the dream state, we're not so plugged into the conscious world. The dreams are able to bypass all of those conscious thoughts and the blocks that we put up, just with everyday life, and thinking about stuff, and it communicates with us through symbols and different scenes and things. And so this is one of the gifts of dreaming. So you should never discount your dreams, and what's going on with them. Everything in the dream is important. All the symbols, the colors, everything. And this is a great way to communicate, for your ancestors to communicate with you. And so before I continue, I just want to remind everybody to press 1 to call in with your questions or your comments. The number is 515-605-9862. If you'd like to ask a question, it doesn't have to be related to the topic. It's just something I do to try to just, get everybody talking and to kind of wake everybody up. So I'm going to take a quick break to give you all time to get your questions together or to call in with your testimonies, and I'll be right back. Anu Nation is home to the Anu spiritual order founded by Chief Jegna Haru Yuya Asan Anu. Some of the components of Anu Nation are Anu Life Global Ministries, Enlightenment and Transformation, Sadulu House, and Osiris Life Spiritual Services. SaduluHouse.com is the school component of Anu Nation, where spiritual empowerment through education and training is emphasized. One way that is accomplished is through our monthly webinars. Our webinars are packed with foundational information, rituals, and live instruction to empower your spiritual work. At seduluhouse.com, you can view our diverse list of topics for this year that range from meditation to sex magic. And you can also register for any of the webinars at your convenience, sign up for our introductory Orisha class, schedule a spiritual reading, and sign up for the Anu Spiritual Training course. Enlightenment and Transformation is the media component of Anu Nation. Here, you can view all of our archived shows from over the years to our current segments. They include Chief Speaks, Masterminds Monday, Anu Asafo, Thunderground Thursdays, and Foundational Fridays. You can also visit us on our YouTube channels. They are Enlightenment and Transformation, Orisha Yoruba, and Anu Nation. Osiris Life Spiritual Services is for those who are ready to take the necessary actions to bring your life into holistic balance. Here we offer consistent monthly one-on-one coaching, solutions that are tailored just for you, practical hands-on self-development techniques that will accompany your monthly readings, and customized practical strategies designed for you that guarantee positive results. Simply choose the package that best fits your needs. And last but not least, AlphaOmegaStore.com. The Alpha Omega Store is our online botanica where we offer divination tools, herbs and incense, DVDs, books, and other hard-to-find ritual items. You can also get our best-selling foundational book, Grasping the Root of Divine Power. Other great works from Anu Nation are Shrine and Altar, Solutions for Dysfunctional Family Relationships, and Natural Hair for Young Women. All great books to assist you on your journey. To find out more on how to get involved with Anu Nation, visit our websites and YouTube channels and be sure to sign up for our monthly newsletter. All right, welcome back to Community Radio. Again, I'm your host, Kim, and today is Monday. If you're just tuning in, thank you for calling. As you know, the shows are daily now, so it gives those of you who can't tune in on Tuesday and Thursday a chance to call in and kind of contribute to the conversation or to just check the shows out. And so before the commercial, I was just speaking on demons, death, and transformation. And so I've just kind of been going with this energy of Olokun recently, just because, personally, some dreams and things that have been very prevalent with me in doing ancestral work and just other spiritual rituals and spiritual work. Just thinking about the word demons, Chief did a show on that as well that kind of explained to us what demons are and how those demons are really a part of you. And it reminds me of the very first exercise in phase 1 of the training, which seems to be the hardest one for a lot of people. A lot of people, as soon as they start, it's like, whoa, they're like, we jump right in just as soon as you start, because the exercise kind of challenges you to face some of those parts of yourself that you probably have ignored or don't even realize exist. And it requires you to be still in the dark. And it's very interesting because even as adults, a lot of people have carried this fear of being in the dark into adulthood. And I just didn't realize how many people are still really afraid of the dark. And so it kind of, again, speaks to what we're talking about today, which is transformation. Because, again, those things that lie in the dark are the things that transform us. Enlightenment, or those things that are in the light, are the things that enlighten us, hence the word enlightenment. And so that fear of the dark is something that we probably have developed as a child, or you may have been afraid of the dark or always had to sleep with a nightlight or something on, or the TV on or something, because for a lot of people, it's just very hard to just kind of be alone in the dark. And so before the commercial, I was speaking about meditation. Oftentimes when you meditate in the dark, that's the best time to do it. Or even when you go to sleep at night to prepare yourself to dream, you would sleep in a completely pitch dark, pitch black room. That helps to kind of activate that pineal gland, or that third eye, to be in complete darkness. And so for a lot of people, it's still kind of hard to do, to kind of just sit there in the dark. And I know the first exercise requires looking at yourself in the dark. And so for many people, that's a very scary thing to do. They think like something's going to pop out, or some kind of ghost or spirit is going to appear and scare the heck out of them or whatever. But there's nothing there. It's only you. You know what I mean? So those things can kind of be scary for a lot of people. I'm going to go to a caller really quick. This is 347. 347. Greetings.
Yes, hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
How are you?
I'm well.
That's wonderful. My question is, sorry, I had to look by the screen.
You're breaking up just a little bit. I don't know if you're all the way on the phone. It sounds like you're kind of away from the phone.
What about now?
You're better. Okay.
What about now? Okay. My question is, I know you guys have spoken about your Ori, and what I guess as you're talking about like a person's different things, the things they need to deal with that they may be aware of or they may not be aware of, that's in their subconscious kind of holding them back, if that makes sense. Is there a way to basically maybe have a conversation with your Ori so you know what to work on?
Of course. Yes. Now, your Ori, again, holds your soul's purpose. And there are different parts of the Ori, actually. So they're connected. It's connected to different things. But if you go to the website, there are free rituals on how to refresh your Ori, how to feed your Ori. And they're the very first 2 or 3 shows that are on the Enlightenment and Transformation channel are on the Ori. So there are several rituals that we give out that we've given out for free to teach you how to get in touch with the Ori, how to work with it, how to feed it and strengthen it. And it's also in the book, Grasping the Root of Divine Power.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
Are you a student?
Hello?
Are you a student?
No, not as yet. There is I have to do something first.
Okay.
But I've discussed it with my husband. He just told me, well, do this first. So.
Yeah. So you can find all that information on Sedulu House.
Okay.
And Enlightenment and Transformation. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. That was our very first caller today. Again, if you're on the line just listening, or if you have a question or comment, you can just press the number 1, and I'll bring you in. Again, the number is 515-605-9862. All right. So today we're just speaking about demons, death, and transformation. And again, if you would like to speak about something else, it's not a problem. This is an open forum. We can discuss anything. You may have heard Chief say something, or may have heard a show recently that kind of resonated with you and you'd like to talk about it a little bit further. That's perfectly fine as well. Okay. So again, just kind of vibing on this whole energy of Olokun, or those watery energies where things are transformed or kind of take you into the subconscious world. You know, most of those mothering energies you'll find there. Yemoja, Olokun, Oshun, all those dark, watery energies are there, or the Iyami, and even Iyami Osoronga. You can find those energies there as well. And there's a fierce side to Yemoja. A lot of people speak about the nice, life-giving, nurturing mother, but Oshun, not Oshun, excuse me, Yemoja also has a side that can be quite terrifying, especially when it comes to children, when children are threatened. So that is an energy that you can work with as well, like for protection of your children. If you, she's very protective. Oshun as well. So that's a really good energy to work with. And if you go to seduluhouse.com, there's a Yemoja ritual there as well, and a ritual that you can do to kind of get in touch with the mothers or that mothering energy. So that website, I'm telling you, has so much information, as well as the shows. There are over 500 shows to date, and it's still growing. This show's daily. We have Chief Speaks, and then we have the student panel show at the end of the last Sunday of every month. So you can find so much information just in the free shows alone. And when you're ready to take the step of joining the community to try to work through phase 1, you're welcome to do so. All right, I'm going to go to another caller real quick. This is 303. Greetings.
Greetings, Sister Kim. How are you?
Greetings. I'm well. How are you?
Oh, I am wonderfully well. Thank you for asking.
It sounds like it.
Man, I like this space that you got over here. This is nice. This is nice.
How have you been?
Hey, I've been working on walking on water. That's what I'm working on. I ain't quite there yet,
okay,
but I'm getting close.
All right. Okay, brother Zach.
Yeah.
All right.
This is we can ask questions here.
Sure.
Okay. I'm really not qualified to answer this question. So the question is the feeling. Somebody asked me on natural births.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to get your take on it, and how do you feel about it?
As far as what?
Just
having
one
or giving it?
Yeah, giving a natural birth as opposed to, getting an epidural.
Ooh. Well, when I gave birth to my daughter, I had an epidural. So I didn't go through the whole. I had her naturally, but I didn't do it without the painkillers. But I will tell you personally that those contractions are real. I think it is probably best to do it without, because they have said that the epidural, of course, is a drug, and it kind of makes the baby a bit hazy, and it does affect the baby coming through. And I even had a friend once that told me, I've been hearing horror stories about it, just putting the epidural in the woman because it goes in your spine, how things can go wrong. One of my friends was actually paralyzed for months because they didn't put the epidural in properly. And so she had a difficult time just giving birth to that child. And then afterwards, of course, she couldn't walk. So I would definitely say if you can take the pain, the natural way, of course, is always the best way. It's just like, the same thing that when we talk about, real food versus those things imitating food. I think the natural way is always the way to go. Yeah. What made you think about that?
Because somebody had asked me about it, and I was like,
okay.
Well, if you can't. But then I was like, I'm really not qualified to even answer. But my initial response, like, I didn't say this, but I'm like, well, you can dig a hole with your hand and you can dig it with a shovel, but I mean, if you would rather dig it with a shovel, it would probably be a little easier. To me, I was like, you might want to. I mean, if you don't have to take the pain, then take a shot. But then I don't know, the full side effects that come along with that. I mean, it's easy for me to say it because I'm not going through it.
Yeah, there's some horror stories about it. I know I tried to take it as long as I could before they put it in, and she was asking me, if you want to do this, you better, you got to do it now because after so long, it's like they can't, once, after a certain point, they're not allowed to put it in. And so that in itself kind of speaks to the dangers of it. You know what I mean? But I've heard mine was fine. I didn't have any trouble with it, but I have heard horror stories about it. But I'm telling you, those contractions are real. It's not an easy thing to deal with. It's really not. So I think if I were you, I would tell that person to definitely research it as much as she can, or even if she's practicing, in Yoruba tradition, or if she does divination for herself, to even divine on it, and try to get some insight about it. It's not an easy decision to make. It's really not. Because I tell you, when I had it, that's what I was thinking about, just the complications from having one. So that's just my opinion. But I think the natural way is the way to go. But I didn't do it the natural way. Had a little help. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So.
Thank you. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks for calling. Is this the first time you called in?
This is.
Okay. For everybody that's on the line, will you introduce yourself?
Greetings, everybody that's on the line who's not hit the number 1 to call in to share, and you're just out there listening in to Sister Kim work so hard. This is Zach. I'm on the student panel at the end of the month, where you can call in, like you can call in right now, and share and speak and just chop it up.
Yeah, and you have your own show as well on Enlightenment and Transformation. Beautiful people in a beautiful world.
Yeah. We've been we lit into this Gregorian calendar, but we're gonna get that cranked up.
Yeah, so all of you listening, be sure to check out Zach's channel. He's on Anu Nation on our YouTube channel. We have several channels on YouTube, but Anu Nation is another one. So make sure you check out his segments as well. And hopefully he'll start his own show soon. What do you think about that?
Yeah, we're going to think about
Call in show.
That's what we're going to do.
You can handle it. Yeah, you can handle it.
You know what I'm saying? That's what they say, we don't want to bite off more than we can chew right now. So
come on. Issue? I'm going to bring in Brother Byron real quick, Zach, and you can continue on with this. I'm going to bring him in. I think this is Brother Byron. Greetings. Uh-oh, you're breaking up a bit.
Can you hear me now? Is it better?
We can hear you.
Okay.
Greetings.
Greetings, Kim, and greetings, Zach. Yeah, so...
Peace, Brother Byron.
Peace, man. Yeah, I'm feeling good today. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good most days, but today I'm feeling good. We celebrated my Baba's birthday on Friday.
Yeah, I saw the pictures.
Yeah, man. We did it in style, man.
Mm-hmm.
He was very happy. He was very happy. And it was just wonderful. It was wonderful. There was 160 of us. There was 100
wow.
family there. Yeah, and we spoiled what we and the family, came up with a tribute to him.
Mm-hmm.
And the moving part of the whole evening was when Baba spoke for maybe 20 minutes.
You're breaking up again. Okay.
It came from the answers. At the end of the party, Baba spoke 20 minutes. And for me, from the ancestors, he was together, of living together well, in overcoming disputes peaceably, and letting the family bond. It came straight from the ancestors. Something similar every year or every 2 years. We have a big reunion like that. He's not around. Together, family, each other's faces, and everybody in the family.
You're still breaking up, Brother Byron, quite a bit. Yeah, it's going like in and out, in and out. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. It's still going out pretty bad, in and out.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm stood next to it, but I don't know what.
I heard. I was trying to piece together some of the things that you said, but it's just a little staticky.
Okay. No better? Any better now?
Yeah, better now.
Okay, great. Yeah, so it was just a wonderful party, and it was great to see all my family there, everyone smiling and looking stush. It was great.
It looked like you all had a wonderful time.
Yeah, man.
Everybody looked so nice. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Wow, that's
you pulled out that suit, Brother Byron, or what?
Yeah, and the thing is, guess what my brother's like? One of my brothers came in red and black, full red and black, head to toe. I said, little do you know.
Wow.
And so I told him, I said, you look like, you're dressed just like Eshu. He says, what's Eshu? So I had to break it down and let him know. So, yeah. Yeah, so with regard to, I've got a couple of comments really on what the little I've heard of the discussion thus far, but around Olokun and the depths of Olokun. I mean, there's parts of the depths of the ocean that light can't even penetrate.
Right.
And so, and you will find that the oldest species on the planet are in the depths of the ocean, on the base, that they actually live on the base of the ocean. And those are the oldest animals or species that people have found to date. And so it led me to link that to how our own demons, which are at the base in our innermost self, that often, if we haven't overcome them and defeated them, they can influence what we do on a daily basis subconsciously. So we'll be behaving or saying and making decisions in particular ways based on the fact that those demons haven't been dealt with. And so for me, it's really important, particularly when doing phase one of the process, of the annual process, that we go into it wholeheartedly, that we root out ourselves and understand what inner demons we have and work on that to eradicate them, because once we've worked on ourselves, we are then able to help other people. But if we haven't worked on ourselves and tried to administer medicine or lessons or teachings to others, then they're not going to be aligned. Something's going to be off balance and something's going to be out of kilter. So it's so important to look into our innermost selves, those secrets that we don't discuss with our close ones or our loved ones, because we sometimes will have some people will have those things, that we deal with those issues, that we deal with those matters, enable that we can move forward from a place of being centered with our Ori, rather than things holding us down or sending us in a different direction. So for me, that's really important. And Brother Zach, with regards to epidurals, I would say, I suppose I've got a couple of questions, being the type of guy I am, I'll ask a riddle. But pregnancy isn't a sickness. So you will find that the medicalization of pregnancy and childbirth has only been done in the West. If we're on the continent, it's a natural process. So you wouldn't want to, they wouldn't even consider seeing a doctor or so forth or anything in that line because childbirth is a natural process. And I'm not a mother, and so I will always quantify what I'm saying, but my children have come forth through cesarean, through childbirth in a hospital, and I've had 2 children born at home in a pool. And for me, the most whole process for me was when they were born at home in a water pool. My wife only took air. She didn't take any epidural or any other thing. In fact, she took air and jelly babies and candy because she needed some energy. But she didn't take any drugs. And also in the process, my understanding is, I've heard from senior mothers, that when a mother brings forth a child, the process of experiencing the contractions in full and managing them and working through them actually provides a connection between the child and the mother, which is eradicated or potentially eradicated or diluted when there's artificial drugs involved in the childbearing process. So that's really what I want to say. I personally would always advocate to have, if possible, to have the child at home on the natural, in a natural environment, and not to involve any doctors or nurses, because traditionally you would have your sisters within your egbe or your clan or your village. The mothers would be supporting the childbirth, and there wouldn't be any men around, and it's because you're dealing with the female energies, aren't you? You're bringing forth, you're bringing forth from the zero. You're bringing forth from the womb. So that is a purely female energy, maternal energy that's coming forth. And for me, I would always advocate, if at all possible, to to bring forth the child naturally in the home environment in the first instance. It's not medical. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with pregnancy. Is not an illness. Childbirth is not a medical procedure. It's a natural procedure. So that's what I would strongly advocate. Yeah. Definitely. And also those the spine, the epidural thing in the spine, the amount of echinacea and other things that one might have to take to get all that stuff out of your system can be overwhelming. So that's what I would say. I'd say on that. And that's from my perspective as being an observant father, not a mother going through the process.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it definitely is a process, But I have, like I said, I have heard stories from other women just about some of the complications, and even, just the, it's like, your baby is kind of is drugged, kind of coming out. It's not fully alert as well, so it does have an effect on the baby.
For sure. Yeah. And it might even affect the breast milk if the mother. Well, I hope the mother wants to breastfeed, and then you've got all these other chemicals in there that are natural, that the baby's taking in, So, so that's
definitely something to think about. It's something to think about. It really.
Could that be equivalent? Let's say this, Brother Byron. Let's say you're putting together a chess set, right? You can grab a hand tool or you can grab a power tool. Okay. One of them might put a little more time, energy, and effort that you have to put in, and the other one, you'll be able to breeze right through it.
Yes.
Would you take the option to breeze right through it, or would you want to put the time, energy, and effort in to just keep doing it by hand?
Okay. I would say that the process of hand carving the chess set, I might get learning on many things. First of all, I could get some meditative time. I could get understanding of the texture of the wood, how it splinters, how soft or hard it is. I'm utilizing my hands and my fingers in a dexterous way, whereby, I'm understanding my own skill and my own skill in manipulating the wood with a knife or any implement that I'm using. By doing it with a power tool, I'm utilizing a foreign object, I would expect just for speed, because I probably would not get the same enjoyment I would get or the same personal connection with the pieces by using a power tool that I would by taking my time and carving the wood, sanding it down by hand, filing it, etc. That is a more intimate process where I would potentially build up some form of emotional bond with the pieces. I might even end up naming the pieces because I'm spending so much time on them. You know, but if I'm using a power tool, all of that process, well, that process wouldn't be there because I'm just doing something quite mechanically, utilizing machinery. That's what I would say.
And you know, just to add a little bit, the epidural doesn't speed the process up. It just numbs the contractions it just numbs the contractions. It doesn't necessarily, it doesn't speed it up.
Right. Okay. Right. And Sister Kim, though, at the beginning you said them pains is no joke.
It's no joke. It is no joke. Yeah.
So wouldn't that be like
more frequently and harder. Mm-hmm.
So could that be equivalent to speeding the process up if you take away the pain? But then I guess that would go about like taking away going back to the beginning conversation with the demons. You can't really get around them. You have to go through it.
Yeah. It doesn't speed it up. It just kind of, and it does wear off. Like it doesn't necessarily last the entire time either. You know, so it definitely doesn't speed it up though.
And there's a similarity actually between dumbing down the contractions or masking the contractions of childbirth with masking the demons and dumbing down the demons that we may have and not dealing with them, because in dealing with them, that is where the learning comes from. Mm-hmm. And I would imagine in having the natural contractions and feeling them is where the bonding would take place within, you know, would help the bonding between the mother and the baby. Somebody did say to me once that it's being born isn't easy. It's not easy to be born. It's not easy for a child to be born. And similarly, it's not easy for an individual to transition when they die. Both of them are a process that the individual should experience in full, because, you know, that's part of our process. We're going through one gateway to another portal, and from one gateway to another portal. Bear with me, please, a moment.
Okay.
Yes, Baba.
Very true. Very true.
I'll call in.
I'm going to bring in.
Okay.
I'm going to bring in 347. I think this is Sister Michelle. I know she has something to say about this whole conversation. Greetings, Michelle. Michelle? Michelle? 347? Okay. Maybe she muted herself, so I'm pretty sure she'll come back in. Here's another 347. Oh. Michelle, are you there?
Peace and the family. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
How are you guys doing today?
We're good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I wanted to chime in earlier, but I'm glad I did it because the question that Zach proposed and then, you know, talking about Olo Kun, it's funny, but it's not really, because it's like life and death. Mm-hmm. And I do want to share my experience with my babies because, you know, being a very Western woman, my first child, I did the whole, like, medical thing. I was a firm believer that I needed help, that I couldn't do this alone. So I went a slightly natural route, which is like a medicalized midwife. And being ignorant of that world, I think I was doing the best thing for my daughter. What ended up happening was that at 37 weeks, my blood pressure was a little too much for them. So I was induced. And Pitocin was horrible. Pitocin, not comparatively, I'm going to give you a little side note. I did do natural contractions with Odin So comparing them to the Pitocin is horrible. It is way much more intense. It's so artificial. It's the worst. I ended up having to do a cesarean anyway, so I had to get the epidural for the cesarean because I was awake throughout the whole thing. And the cesarean was horrible. I cried almost the whole time. I felt like a cow. I didn't feel like a cow, like the happy cow. I felt like a cow in the slaughterhouses. You know, it was just a very bad experience. I usually try to block it, but when I remember it, I'm just like, oh. And then when I was pregnant with Odin, life had it that I could not get any medical care here in Florida because of how far along I was. And with these medical people, all they care about is getting sued. So they weren't really caring about, you know, who's going to take care of this baby. No, they were just like, oh, we can't take you. We don't have any records or any paper trail.
History.
You know, like exactly like Chief said, the goat people. You know, so seeing my options, me and Richard decided to do a free birth, which is no midwife, no nothing, just us. And let me tell you, I was in labor for a week with Odin.
Wow.
I was in labor for about 5 days with Odin. We did the home pool thing. And it was a very beautiful experience, not only for us as a couple, but for me and Odin. And throughout that time, I was in such a different headspace. I literally felt like I was going into Olokun to go bring my baby back. But at the end, there was a point where I think I was my worst enemy and I got fearful. And the contraction stopped. Everything just stopped. And then I spoke to Odin and we connected. And he was the one who gave me confidence. He was like, Mom, don't worry about it. Go to the hospital. I'm going to be okay. We're both going to be okay. Because honestly, that was my deepest fear. After Alice, I did not want to go to the hospital. I still don't want to go to the hospital ever again in my life. And he was the one who was giving me courage to go. And it was such a horrible experience even then because I was 43 weeks pregnant with Odin. So that in itself was like, I'm like, the extreme case, my baby's going to die. Everything was like, oh my gosh, she's 43 weeks. And this is a big deal only because in the medical field, 40 weeks, everybody's scruffling and like saying the baby's got to come out. The baby's going to come out.
Yeah.
So I was 43 weeks. So the doctors were going insane. I was dilated, like I said. I was there. It was just that Odin was stuck and we needed help. So these doctors were scrambling, and then they pulled out this wicked thing called forceps.
Forceps.
Oh my God! He just put in one half of that contraption, and I was in pain. So then that's when I called it all off, and I was like, "No, you're not gonna pull my baby out like that. We're gonna just have to do a cesarean." And he was literally crowning. But I was like, "There's no way you're gonna touch my son with that horrible thing."
They're like huge tongue. Yeah. Sharp claws.
I had no idea. Yeah, it's the worst. It's like the size of your arm. The paddle is like the size of your hand, and it goes around the baby's head. They literally pull him out by the neck.
Yeah.
No. But if I were to do it again, and if I were to, for Brother Zach's question for the sister, I would rather go through a week of labor, of natural contractions that I can tolerate, versus the Pitocin and the surgery, and then the recuperation from the trauma, from the physical trauma, mental, emotional, spiritual, is a mess. Whether you go through the pain of the natural and the way you give birth, I can only imagine that it is full of ecstasy and love and just joy, and I didn't get to feel any of that. So I'm pretty sure that if I were to recommend anything for a woman, definitely do it all natural. Get some women that have experience in the birth with you, because that helps a lot. I feel like if I would have had an older, wise woman with me during Odin's birth, and she could have helped me out along, I would have felt more confident, and he would have been born at home.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? Just to add something to what you were saying, Zach, to the sister you were speaking to, like cesareans are big business now, and I know like here where I live, there's one particular doctor that it seems like I guess everybody, I didn't have them, but a lot of women that I know have had the same doctor, and he schedules all of them for cesarean. You know, because it's an operation, so it's more expensive to have. And so it's like whether the woman can give birth naturally or not, like they just automatically like, no, we're going to do a cesarean. Just schedule a cesarean. And like Sister Michelle was saying, right at 40 weeks, or a lot of times it's been before 40 weeks, you know, so they can get their vacation time in, or maybe it conflicts with something in their schedule, so they will schedule a cesarean way too early. You know what I mean? Because they feel like, and you know, even in predicting how many months along you are, it's predicted. You know, so even you, like Michelle, you said you were at 43 weeks. It could have, you know, it was just right on time. You know what I mean? So they just predicted from, you know, the date of your last, you know, cycle or whatever. So the time can be off as well. But I know here, like cesareans, and I don't know if that's common everywhere else too, but cesareans are a big business. Like they will schedule a cesarean quickly.
Well,
Yeah,
first
yeah,
of all,
and I felt like I was pushed too. Like so for Alice, I was really pushed because they didn't want any complications and any malpractice. So it was hard, but you know, I just want to touch again on the Olokun piece because I'm sure I don't know if you felt this, but I felt this more with Odin than with Alice. And that whole month when he was born, I felt like I wasn't on Earth. My spirit, I felt very disconnected. And then when I was having the contractions, I did feel like I was slowly, with each contraction, bringing my baby forth, spiritually or some. But I was going deep somewhere, and it wasn't like a cool place. It was a very scary place for me, and very new. But you know, there's something about, you know, Olokun and life and death that I feel like there's something there.
Yeah, definitely. That's the past, present, and future. You know what I mean? All those layers of the ocean are represent those phases. Let me bring in another caller real quick. I think this is 347 as well. 347? 347.
Hello?
Greetings.
I'm sorry. It's a bit of a noise. I just agree with everything that Michelle said, because he basically said everything that I wanted to say. So I actually went through a similar experience that she did. And I just want to say she's right to do it natural. But the only thing with that is that there's something about which Michelle is probably doing naturally herself as she explains it. But from what I understand, when one goes into a state of meditation, they're able to connect more. And maybe if it may help for some women, that if they were to practice during the pregnancy and have a team of women with them, it may be able to help. Because, you know, if you don't do it all the time, then it's not, when it's time to give birth, it's not gonna, you're not gonna magically have to. Maybe for some women it does. Maybe they are that tapped in, but I don't think most at this time are. And that's the only thing I wanted to add, because it's really noisy around here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, that's the purpose of those. Was it Lamaze classes and those birth classes where they teach you, breathing techniques and how to kind of breathe through it? Or I remember I had another friend, like she through all her contractions, she was just dancing. She was trying to dance, every time one hit, she would just start dancing or trying to move around some kind of way, you know. I don't know, the way, like Brother Byron said, giving birth is not a sickness, and the way it's treated here in the West is like it is a sickness, even from the point of them telling you to, lie down and give birth. That makes it even harder. It's like, why not go with gravity, instead of laying on your back trying to push it out, So again, we're talking about, Western culture versus, indigenous cultures. It's like it's all anti-nature,
Just going. Could I just add something, please?
Yes.
Could I just add some? Yeah. I did also. I should have said it when I was first speaking, but during the time when the last 4 of my children were born, I was in contact with Babalawo or Ianifa, and they were doing rituals. They were doing rituals. For my last 2 children, it was Chief Yuya. He was doing rituals. He was telling me what to do at my shrine with my ancestors and my Orisha. And so I was busy working with him to deal with the spiritual side of things, whilst my wife was bringing forth the baby. So I was involved to a degree, not as involved with her, of course, but my role was more to work with the ancestors and the Orisha. And I would advocate for any ANU student who is pregnant or is to have a baby to have readings with Chief Yuya about the child prior to the child coming forth, right up to the time of childbirth and post-birth, to get a specific reading on what the child's destiny is, and even helping naming the child based on their name that is given to them from the heavens. So I think it's really important that is also part of the whole process as well, because we are dealing with the physical realm in terms of supporting the mother and the child to come forth well, but we're also working with the spiritual side and the ancestral realm, because the child is coming back from the ancestral realm, and so that they also must be consulted during that process to make sure that everything is working together in unity. So I should have said that earlier, but I thought I should just say that now.
Thank you for sharing that. All right. Let me see. There's another caller. This is 817. 817. Greetings.
Howdy. I just wanted
Peace, you were breaking up just a little bit. We got you now, though. Okay.
Okay. I just wanted to add to the conversation with childbirth, or home birth, hospital birth. Well, I had my first child in hospital, and I had my second child at home. So both experiences are completely different, like totally different. Like the first time in the hospital was horrible, really, really horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm still holding on to some resentment because of it. For one, I got the epidural, and they also gave me some other type of medicine for the pain before I got the epidural, and it was like a drug. I couldn't remember what was going on. Like I felt really like a drug, so I couldn't really remember the experience at all.
Wow.
So it happened so fast, and then they had to. I wasn't even aware that after I had the child, they had the baby out of the room, and the child wasn't in the room with me, but all types of relatives in the room. So I'm like, okay, I'm so out of it. I don't even have the sense to be like, okay, for one, I need all of y'all to get out of my room, and where's my child? So I was so out of it. It was just, and then I didn't like the fact that like my privacy was just being invaded. Like it was all kind of people in the room. They Randy, and tell him like, okay, move out the way, this type of thing, and he's waking up asleep because I fell asleep during the whole process. So I didn't.
Wow!
I fell asleep.
They really drugged you up.
Yeah, like we both were asleep and they came in like 8, because I went like in the wee hours, and then by the time 8 a.m. came around, that's when they woke me up like, okay, you have to push it. And I pushed them out in 10 minutes.
Wow.
But I couldn't feel anything. So like it was just like, to me it was just so horrible. Then I experienced like a postpartum depression after that too. It was the second time I didn't experience postpartum, and it was so much more like powerful to me, because I couldn't afford classes or anything like that. So everything I researched about a home birth was online. So I'm like, what I'm thinking is, okay, I'm going to have to just do this from, intuition, because I don't have the luxury of going to these breathing classes and that type of stuff. And so what I did was I was, meditating like it's going to be a wonderful experience. Everything is going to go well. And everything did go well. It turns out where, Randy was on his way to come to the house, and everybody was on their way, but it was too late. I had to save myself.
Oh, my God.
It happened so fast, just like the first time. I pushed him out in like 10 minutes too. So,
oh, wow.
I just like did everything. Like I couldn't even reach my phone. I was like kind of, calling my mom, like, what should I do? She told me like to stand up. That didn't work. So I pretty much just had to wing it myself. I told Randy to go to the store to get some ice. But by the time like he went to do that, I was like, okay, you just need to come home, because this is happening. So he's trying to get home, quick, fast, in a hurry. But I did what my intuition told me. I squatted. I had all my supplies next to me, towels, everything. I had the bed and everything prepared. So when it happened, like what I heard like doors, like chambers. So I think I was kind of in a meditation, because I heard doors like closing. I heard in my head like something say boom, like that, and that's when the baby popped out, because I heard it in my head. And then when I listened to the show, she was saying something about when you hear those type of noises, usually you're going to the ancestral realm or something like that. So putting two together, I'm like, maybe that's what happened, because I remember telling, Randy, like, I heard something when I was giving birth. I heard some doors, and then the baby came out, so that was amazing. And I grabbed the baby, put him on my chest, and, grabbed the towels, I was wiping them up, and, I did the umbilical cord and everything. Like, well, it snapped on its own, so I wanted to keep it on like a lotus birth type of thing, but I didn't get a chance to check because it fell off. So I was like, kind of like, worried, like, oh, it broke by itself, but, everything went fine. Like, it was such an amazing experience, and I found out for me, I couldn't breathe in at all. I had to just breathe out. So I had to just say, okay. I did mantras. I did the mantra, oh. That came naturally. I just was like, oh, like the whole time during the contractions. So all these times, about research, you're supposed to breathe in and breathe. I couldn't do none of that.
Yeah.
I had to breathe out. So it's like just learning, like, my body and what helped for me. And to be honest, the pain wasn't that bad. It hurted, but for me, it wasn't that unbearable. It lasted for a short amount of time, maybe like 5 minutes top, and it was done with, and I forgot all about it. So I feel like if you're in a position you can't home birth, you shouldn't let the idea of the pain stop you. It's not that bad. It's really not. If you can get a piercing, a tattoo, like, I'm not comparing that to the pain, but maybe my pain just wasn't as great as other women. Yeah. But
I think you were just focused on the fact that you were there by yourself. So it's like you really didn't even have time to focus on the pain. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Your mind was elsewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a shy person, but I feel like everybody probably heard me in my apartment building, because I was just saying the word "oh" so loud. Like I just didn't care. I was just doing whatever, like, soothe the pain for, But I feel like that shouldn't stop me, because I got the epidural because I was scared that the pain was going to intensify.
Yeah. Right. You get those stories.
Later, so I was like, all right, I'll just do it, because I don't want the pain to get worse than what it is, even though I'm dealing with it. Just out of fear, I got it. And like that's be in this excuse, to get there. I don't want pain. Oh, the pain. I'm scared of the pain. Like, don't be afraid of the pain. Like, I mean,
I can say the same thing. That's kind of why I had it too, because I was dealing with the contractions. They hurt, of course, They definitely hurt. But I was like you thinking, okay, is it going to get worse? Because I keep hearing all these horror stories about the pain, the pain, the pain. And so at the last minute, I was just like, okay, go ahead. You know what I mean? But I think that's really important, like you said, to just not think so much about just the stories that you hear about the pain. Yeah. That's awesome. Sequoia, that you were able to handle that yourself. That's amazing. Wow.
And my husband was the one that gave me or helped me have the courage to do it, because I was like, I think I want to go to the hospital. I'm too scared. And he was like, you can do this. Like, your body is made to, like, but we can do this. Like, you're strong enough to do this. Like, he the one that made me like, I can do this. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to have my home first. So just having him there saying that it's going to be all right. Like, we can do this. That helped, because I don't think I would have been able to do it by myself. Having him there, I got to worry, and just for me saying, like, anything happens, you got it. You know what I want, you take it from there. Just having that, I felt like, made me less fearful too.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing.
It was wonderful. I could sit in my bed, people catered to me. I got to walk around the house, not be in a hospital with a whole bunch of other people.
Oh, yeah.
Certain things after birth. It was just way better, because I got to get back to the things, I need to do, because I'm at home. And, like, after a while, I was feeling good walking around. And he was like,
wow.
I feel great. I feel like I got my energy. I was wonderful. I was awesome. I was like, that's I'm ready to work out. Okay, calm down.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, everybody handles it differently. We just, I think in the West we just get flooded so much with, the pain, because actually even through my contractions, I was laughing through them. I laughed through the whole childbirth. Like, when I would get a wave of pain to come through, like, I would initially, like, you kind of brace yourself a little bit. But then it was just like, I think I was just so elated about just the whole event of finally getting to see, this child that's been in me for so many months. It was like, I don't know. I just kind of, I don't know. It was just, I laughed through the whole thing. So, yeah, I think everybody handles it differently. But thank you for sharing. Yeah. So, Zach, does that help out a little bit?
Oh, man. Some of these stories, they say you get what you ask for. My goodness. Sister Michelle painted a vivid picture that I'm going to have to meditate to get out of my head for the next month. Man, definitely. Tongs and chopsticks going up there. Oh, man. Okay. All right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They got some horrendous things. Yeah, they pull out on you.
Yeah. Now, you brought up, though, Lamaze, right? Is that? And now, that's more for, like, sisters. Sisters go with each other so they can help each other out, right? That's not really a guy thing.
I don't know, because I didn't take the classes, so I don't know. But I've heard or seen, women go with their partners, go with their husbands too. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess it's up to the man if he decides to want to be there or not. You heard Brother Byron say that he was doing his thing on his end. You know what I mean? And his wife was surrounded with the women. So. Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to add a little something. Hold on, I'm gonna turn off the shower. I'm making a bath for my baby. Just 1 second. I do want to add something, and I don't know how much of that, having your husband with you during your pregnancy is much of Western culture, but personally, when I was pregnant, I didn't really like male energy around me that much. I enjoyed more of the female company. I found that men, not so much my husband, but men in general, weren't really helpful. And I bonded more with sisters. So I feel personally that just like in nature, you know, you kind of like find your own little group, and in both occasions, I felt like I was attracted more towards the females, of like whether it be my family or my friends, and I didn't really gain much from having my husband around too much, other than the fact that I knew that I was completely supported. If I needed anything, I could just completely just go call to him. But when it comes to like during the contractions, the emotional support, you know, trying to convey to him what I needed through the contractions, that was really hard. And I feel like if a woman would have been there throughout most of the pregnancy, I would have been in a much better state. So when it comes to like Brother Zach, you going to the classes, I would ask the lady how she feels about it. Instead of, you know, offering to see what she wants to do, because that's usually the better choice for the woman, what her instincts tell her.
I'm glad you cleaned that up, Sister Michelle. Brother Zach ain't going to no Lamar's class. Let's put that on the table right now, so we can just clear all of that up.
Oh boy, why do you feel like? Why do you say that?
I just don't think that that's a space. Like, what possibly would a man do if there's nothing that I can do? I mean, well, I'm just breathe. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Like at the same time, you said you laughing the whole time. Like, okay, I mean, you're just a prop at this point.
Yeah.
I want to hear your voice. You know, you can be playing music in the background. You can be talking. You can be singing. You know, the child probably can, you know, hear it. You know, hear you, hear the father too. You know.
Yeah, but he still ain't going.
Yeah, we'll give a shout out to MGC right now because I know he's somewhere over there. But yeah,
he was like, I'm going to be in there. He's like, I want to. He wanted to be in there. He's like, nah, he ain't kicking me out. It's my party too. It ain't just a woman's party, you know. But,
Hey, no doubt. Okay, I appreciate it.
You're not coming to the party.
Yeah, that's some of the sister-only pies, man.
Okay. All right. Yeah, actually, Sequoia, I was going to tell you, too, you kind of sparked this conversation, too, because we had a chance to talk over the strong end. And we were just kind of talking about this whole thing with, you know, transformation and, you know, dreams and emotions and all this kind of stuff too. So I just wanted to thank you for that too. Thank you for reaching out and calling because it did help out. Yeah.
No problem. Yeah, I think it ties into childbirth too, like transformation. It all ties
Definitely.
Ties into it too. So.
Definitely, because even just the process of you know, the whole becoming pregnant. Of course, you know, they call it, you know, the small death, you know, when a man ejaculates, is a small death. So he's giving up or killing part of himself to, as a part of that whole creation process. So, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's, yeah. This is an enlightening conversation. this is
nothing you haven't heard before. You know, you've heard Chief talk about this. You've heard Chief talk about this. He broke that down too in the show. And again, I don't remember which show it was. There's so many. Yeah, but he did break the whole thing. Yeah, the small death.
It is. That's just very interesting. All very interesting. Man, I appreciate this.
Thank you for bringing the question forth. Everybody, we got about 30 minutes left in the show. The number is 515-605-9862. Just press the number 1 if you'd like to come in and comment, or if you have a question, or if you're a man like Zach and kind of, you know, want to change the subject, maybe. He said this is the females realm right here. So you're welcome to do that as well. Again, just press the number 1 or call the number. We got about 30 minutes left. So just kind of chatting it up on transformation, just this whole process of transformation, even transformation in birth, or just dealing with those inner demons, just kind of takes us through a painful process in both situations, whether you're giving birth or just dealing with your own crap. It's both quite painful, and it will come up in phase 1. And just like Brother Byron was saying earlier, it's very important, because phase 2 of the class is when you're actually invoking and really working with different entities. So it's very important that you kind of clear a lot of those problems up, because as we also know, and Brother Byron mentioned this as well, when you haven't done that, it kind of taints all of your spiritual work. You bring those problems and insecurities or whatever it is that you're dealing with all into your spiritual work, and it kind of taints your view of everything. If you are, I don't know, a female or a woman or whatever, and you have issues with being a woman, or just that whole feminine energy, you're going to have a very lopsided view of Oshun or Yemoja or any of those feminine energies. So, it's really good to kind of work a lot of that stuff out before you invoke something that you can't necessarily handle, So that's why phase 1 is ministry to self, which is the hardest one and the longest one to kind of get through, but it's definitely necessary. So all of you that are listening, if you're not enrolled, make sure you go to SaduHouse.com to get signed up. All right.
So
anybody else have any comments?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah. No, I was just going to say, go ahead.
So let me I just want to ask one more question, and I'll let it go. So going through is like somebody's situation, or going through their demons is, you can't go over it, you can't go under it, right. You have to go through it to become better on the other side. Would that be the same as labor pains? Of you can't really try to get rid of them, you can't, try to mask them. You have to go through it in order to have a better understanding of and a connection, so to speak, with the child?
I would probably say yes, because just listening to Sister Sequoia, you heard what she was saying, like she was completely out of it. So even afterwards, just not being conscious, during the process, like she had a lot of postpartum issues to deal with afterwards. So, it just really kind of suppressed a lot of things. It really didn't, like you said, didn't completely go through everything, Even with cesareans, it reminds me of the story of Amma and the egg, the Dogon story of creation, and how, Amma was pregnant with the two energies, and how one just delivered itself. It just broke out. It didn't go through the natural birthing process. And that's how they say, the pale fox, or that other energy, that what do you call it? That, I guess, the wicked energy or whatever, kind of that's how that came into being, because it did not go through the process of traveling through the birth canal and all of that stuff. So I think, just the whole business of cesareans, to me, I'm just like, I think that's just horrible. It's really horrible. I recently, a relative of mine went through this, and I think they took her baby at like 34 weeks. So the baby wasn't even fully developed yet. When he came out, he had some breathing issues, and, had to be in an incubator, all this kind of stuff upon birth, was really sick, and, and of course they had to, give her, induce the labor, and gave all these drugs and everything. And every time I think about it, it just reminds me of the Dogon creation story. How it's just really incomplete and something is lost and going through that process. But this is like the popular thing to do now because it's more convenient for the doctor and it makes more money because it's an operation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Thank you.
Go ahead. Somebody was saying something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that I think going through the pain, it made me appreciate the
definitely.
And it was like an initiation. It's like respect the fact that you have to be initiated in order to become a mother, in order to bring a child into life. That responsibility is not something that, it's like when you negate the pain process, it's like saying, I don't care about being a mom, just nothing. I could just have a baby here, there, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But like when you go through that pain, it's like, okay, you think twice.
You respect it more.
It's like, it's not something to just be, I think the pain is nothing. It's not something that should be a joke. It's not something that, I'm not downing anybody to decide to get, go through the medical, way to get pregnant or anything like that and that type of stuff. But, I feel like going through the natural process of it, you respect what it is that you are coming into. You're coming into motherhood, and it's more than just, having a baby, giving birth, and whatever. It's like it's a responsibility, and it should be respected. And if you don't have no pain, how you gonna get some gain?
No pain, no gain. Yeah, I think it does make you think twice, or just like you said, just respect the sacredness of having a baby. Yeah, when we actually have to feel the pain and actually have to go through it. So I definitely agree with you on that. Yeah.
Sister Kim, I've just been doing a little bit of reading on the subject whilst the conversation has been flowing. And there's lots of information online to show that the hormones, when a woman has natural childbirth, the hormones going through the process of having the childbirth naturally supports the body to rebalance, the woman's body to rebalance post childbirth, because going through that process, physiologically it rebalances the hormone and it sends triggers to the brain to send different chemicals within the body, so it helps the woman overcome the childbirth experience. Yeah. And also, there's a couple of articles that say even at the process of childbirth itself helps, supports the mother to even love baby more, or to love baby because of the chemical shifts that are going on during that process. So it's really interesting. And so I would, to me, childbirth is the domain of the mothers. It's the domain of the ancestors, and and the men can be doing other stuff, as I was saying earlier, away from the home. On one occasion, I actually left the home, and one of the women that was supporting my wife said, "We'll call you when things are happening." You don't need to be around. It's none of my business. My business isn't in that space. It's around the edges and the periphery, supporting the people in that space.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. That makes a lot of sense though, about just the the hormonal aspect of it, and trying to just bounce back. How everything kind of takes care of itself naturally, because as you were speaking, I was just thinking about even afterwards, with breastfeeding, and why breastfeeding is best for a baby, and those women who don't breastfeed, just the emotional detachment, as well as all those nutrients and everything that the baby lacks. is lacking when they go to an artificial source like these Enfamil and these powdered substitutes or whatever that are full of hormones and God knows whatever else that's in it. Just the entire process before, during, and after is a very natural thing.
Yeah, and a lot of those baby formulas, Sister Kim, have got pork in them.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, but it doesn't say pork. But if you break down some of the if you look at the tin and break down some of those long words they have to describe the content, some of them are pork based.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't use formula, so that's something I didn't know about. Wow. Wow. I mean, it just even sounds so horrible. Formula. You're feeding your baby formula. It just doesn't even it doesn't even sound right. Something is off with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that just the entire process and it really does show you how much of a matrix or how much of a battery you are. When the women are rushed back to work. 3 months. I think it's 3 months after they give you 3 months or something in the States to get back to work and. You ship your baby off to daycare. You can't breastfeed. You can't, bond with the baby after 3 months. It's like, oh, wow, to me, that's just such a horrible, because, 3 months, that's like no time. You know what I mean? Your body's still kind of bouncing back as well. So it just kind of shows you just how much of a battery, how much a farm we're in. It's like, okay, hurry up, spit it out, just give the baby some formula and get back to work,
Yes, and start feeding the machine.
Yeah, start feeding the machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really sad. Really sad.
It is.
All right, anybody else? Go ahead.
I'm just saying, any brothers out there, if your lady's pregnant, I will tell you quite clearly and without reservation, check out Chief Fuya, get some readings and get some support, because when your ancestor returns, you want it to have everything in place, and you want to be giving the child everything that you can from a place of knowing rather than a place of hoping or guessing or wishing.
Yes.
Definitely get those readings intact so you know what you're doing with your child, and so you know what responsibility you have toward that child. So, Chief Fuya has given me so much information about my children in terms of who they should be around, how to deal with them, what their destiny is, how we should develop them, what they should do, etc. It's been invaluable. And so we're supporting and developing the children from a place of knowing rather than a place of hope or guess.
Definitely.
Because you don't get second chances. You don't get second chances with children. You don't get second chances raising your children. You've got your one opportunity.
Yeah. I think it's just awesome too that you find that process in African traditions, where there is a naming ceremony. There's something to do to find out who the child is, who is this ancestor, what did they come back to do? To, like you said, just to be able to know that from birth, it just changes the whole game. You know what I mean? Is like you said, you're just not guessing and just kind of letting things happen to the child, and then like most of us don't figure it out until we're 30 plus. What happened, or what did I do wrong, or what mistakes, trying to work things out so much later in life. To be able to have that from the beginning is such, that to me that is just so amazing, to be able to get that information from the beginning, because even, Sequoia, Michelle, myself included, you heard our stories about, going into the hospital with the birth of our child, for the first child. It's like, because you just don't know better. There's no council of women around telling you this is not the right thing to do. You shouldn't have your baby under fluorescent light, as soon as it comes out. You shouldn't, all these things, and just kind of just guessing at things, even the name, just doing everything just kind of just with no knowledge or no foundation. You know what I mean? I think that's amazing. When I heard about that, when I started studying, I was like, wow, like you can find this stuff out at birth, as soon as, and then, everybody in the community is a part of the rearing. So they know who the child is. They know what to do to help support the child as well. It's not even just on you and the father. Everybody can get involved in this, so everybody knows who the child is.
How hard was it for that process? This where you kind of just sparked something in my mind. You said, when you just don't know, and the first time you go to a hospital, because that's basically all that one knows. Mm-hmm. This is what you're supposed to do. And I think about even, like how hard it is for one to get out of that, just as if, if you raised an animal in a zoo and all of a sudden you turn it to the wild, it's not, it's kind of not going to survive because it just doesn't know how to be in its natural element. So how hard was it for you when you did get that to finally get back to your natural element and get away from a genetically modified type of way of giving birth?
I don't know. For me, some of the older women, like afterwards, they tell you how to care for the baby. They tell you, about breastfeeding, and sometimes they're there to kind of help you, transition back to home and help you out around the house and things like that. So I don't think everything is completely lost as far as the support goes, or what to do afterwards, how to bathe the baby, how to feed it, all this kind of stuff. So I still had some of that, but just going into that is so terrifying. Going into that hospital, you just have no idea. Cause like Sister Michelle was saying, it's like, it's such a personal time. And to have all these doctors and nurses around, and you're hooked up to all these different machines and all this other kind of stuff, you just kind of feel like an experiment. I don't know. I did. I was just like, gosh, this is it's so creepy. And then, it happens so fast. They give you the baby for a minute, then they take it away, clean it up, and all this other. I mean, it's just you've seen these sci-fi movies like with alien abductions. It's almost kind of, where you're laying on an examination table. It's kind of like that. You have your legs up in these stirrups, and it's just, I don't know. It's just, to me, it was just real. That part was really, really hard. That part was hard. It was really scary for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What about you, Sequoia? Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. For me, it was just gaining knowledge on like what they do in the hospitals that really made me sick to my stomach, to a point like I can't do it. I can't do that. I will feel like I've done something extremely wrong. Just after learning the information, the rituals behind what they do, just that. Just looking at the hospital thing is like, to me, I look at it as like torture. To me, I know that may be listening, but I look at it as torture. And now I can't even watch certain clips, like even in movies, like and they're doing stuff. I have to fast forward or cover my face, because to me, I associate it with torture now. So for me, it's like I can't do it. It's like a quote unquote sin for me to go back and do it after learning new information on what it is and what they do and how the baby is suffering emotionally after going through that experience. It's like what I've learned is like the baby is looking for the mom's support during birth. The baby can't do it by itself. So you have the pain in order for you to help push, and the baby is like, okay, I need help, and so they have to use the 4 steps. It's like, okay, if the mom was coherent and she's pushing and she's there helping, the baby wouldn't have to do that. And a lot of babies have colic afterward. They're just crying for no reason. But why do you think that baby's crying? Probably crying because of the trauma of when it went through when it had birth, and so it just can't stop crying. It's probably going through emotional issues. But it's like, because we don't know what being a mother is or a woman is, it's like we don't understand what is going on with the child. And, how to be a mom and what to do. And so just after I did gain information and knowledge, that made me just say, I can't do it. It would be wrong for me to go back into that. And with my husband, too, like, he wouldn't even let me do it. After he learned, but he learned something, like, all right, I learned something. This is the correct way. We're going to do this. No going back. So just having him there, too, like, I wouldn't even been able to do it because he would have looked at me like you just committed a crime in my eyes. So I couldn't go back. It's the information, knowledge.
Yeah.
That's key. Let it go. More.
Definitely. For sure. So you think you got a full report to go back and teach?
I got more than enough. I think I got not even a pamphlet. I got a packet that I can take back with me, and it's going to serve me well. So thank you kindly.
No problem. Thank you for calling in and, like I said, bringing up the topic. And for everybody else listening, again, this show airs daily now. We're on every day. So be sure to call in with your questions, comments, topics, whatever you'd like to talk about. And I'm going to go ahead and close out. I don't see any other hands up. Going once, going twice, if you have anything you'd like to add. Again, make sure you sign up for our new spiritual training phase 1. Check out all the other classes, get involved, and please use the student forums. There's a forum there when you log into seduluhouse.com. Some of the questions that you may have that you think are unique aren't really unique. To put it nicely, they've already been answered. So make sure you log in to go to the student forum to see if some of the questions that you have are there before you send in your questions, and check out the FAQs on seduluhouse.com as well. That will help out tons, as far as the customer service questions and calls are concerned. One more thing. I got to say this. We get a lot of calls in from people calling, wanting to talk to somebody about signing up for the class. And we just don't have that kind of time to call people back personally to talk about joining the class. We do that on the shows all the time. So check out the old shows, go to the archives, read the syllabus, check out the video Chief did on phase 1 so you know what to expect. There is a show on phase 1 of the training in the archives. There's a lot of resources and information already out there to kind of help you decide whether or not you'd like to sign up for that. And just go through the site. seduluhouse.com. There's a search box there where you see the little magnifying glass. If you can't find the page you're looking for, just type in the subject of what you're looking for, and I'm pretty sure you can find it as well. So just read and just kind of utilize all the stuff that's out there. Make sure you get Grasping the Root of Divine Power, the 14 Keys, Shrine and Altar, Solutions for Dysfunctional Families, tons and tons and tons and tons of information out there. So, we just ask that you please use the resources that we work so hard to get out to you before you flood us with questions. I guess that's kind of a nice way of saying it. But we will be back again tomorrow, same time, 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern, 515-605-9862. And thank you, Brother Zach, Sequoia, Michelle, Byron. Thank you all for calling in and supporting and adding your ashe to the conversation. It's definitely appreciated. And we'll be back tomorrow with another topic. All right, everybody, enjoy your day. Peace.